If you watch the people on the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, Champions Tour, I guarantee you watch their routine, it doesn't change at all. So make sure you develop your specific routine based on how you do things. Make it very specific. Remember setting that reachable goal thing? Specific. Say I take X amount of seconds to hit each shot because I have a very specific routine. And I have a very specific goal on every single shot that I hit. Now, going back to playing the game of golf, we run into some rule situations. So actually, we're going to get into our trivia here real quick. I got 3 quick questions and a couple other rules questions to see how knowledgeable everybody there is on the rules of golf. Okay, we're going to jump out here with the first one. And who has the honor of playing first on the very last hole? So all you're going to do is raise your hand. Daniel's going to call on you.
We'll go with Luke had his hand up.
Luke, what you got for me, bud?
The person who had the lowest score on the last hole.
Boom. Person who had the lowest score on the last hole. Good job. Okay. Who is the winner in a stroke play tournament?
Reese.
It is the person who made the fewest strokes over the entire course of play through all 9 or 18 holes.
Wow, that's like a perfect definition. Couldn't have said that better myself.
I also actually do want to say here, my apologies for being late.
That's all right. I'm not going to send you to the principal's office.
I would.
Are the 4 major championships in golf, and give them to me in the exact order in which they are during the year. And don't Google it right now. Anybody?
Coach B, technically that's a trick question because they're a little wonky right now.
Well, in general, what order were they played in last year? 4 major championships. Nobody? Nobody? Well, do I have a taker?
All right,
okay.
Can anybody name one of them?
One that's supposed to be going on right now? The one where you get a green jacket if you win?
Masters.
Masters. Okay, so we got one.
Right.
The PGA Tour?
It's the PGA
Championship.
Okay. Okay. And then there's 2 opens. Name one of the opens.
British Open.
The British Open, which is also called the Open Championship, and then there's the one.
U.S. Open.
The U.S. Open. So the correct order would actually be the Masters, PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, and then the Open Championship, which is over in Europe. They're actually not going to play the Open Championship in Europe this year. It is the first time since 1945 that this did not happen. Wow, that's a long time. And for those of you who are asking, no, I was not alive during that time. So that was a long, 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 long time ago. So here's a couple other questions. What stakes define out of bounds? What color?
Red.
Anybody?
White.
White.
Oh,
So here's the best way to remember the out of bounds stakes. What color are the lines on the side of a football field?
White.
They're white. And if you go across them, you are out of bounds. I've never seen red or yellow stakes or lines on a football field. So the white lines are going to mean you're out of bounds. So very important you remember that. Now, the red and yellow identify what? There's a new word, there's a new term for that started last year. They used to be called water hazards. What are they called now?
Water penalties?
They're now called penalty areas. Kind of a weird thing to call them. They're called penalty areas. So you've got red penalty areas and yellow penalty areas. They either have a red staker line or a yellow staker line. So that's kind of how you understand the difference between the colors on the golf course. There are no blue lines. There are no green lines. There's either going to be white, red, or yellow. Now going back to the ball being out of bounds. So the white stakes define the boundary of the golf course. So if it's beyond the boundary of the golf course, it is out of bounds. Okay? Out of bounds. The Pacific Ocean is not a penalty area for us here in North Carolina. It'd be out of bounds. So make sure you understand that. Boundaries are within the penalty areas are within the boundaries of the golf course. So those are the areas where water typically resides, which are called the red penalty areas and the yellow penalty areas. Now, what happens if you hit a ball into a big old group of trees and you can't find it? What's that ball considered?
Hit by Daniel. Hey, while you're working on, what's the difference between red and yellow stakes?
You want me to say that, or is that a question for everybody?
I don't know. That's a question we just got sent to us in the chat.
Okay, so the difference between the red and yellow is how you're going to proceed with how you drop the ball. So for the red one is for all of them, you can always replay the shot where you last hit it. That's always an option. You can always play the ball as it lies. That's always an option. You can always take the line of where it last crossed the water hazard and go back as far as you want. Now, red has one extra where you can go 2 club lengths from where it last crossed, no closer to the hole. So let's I do have a pen. Look at that. I'm more prepared than I thought. So here, I'm going to draw a diagram here. And I'm going to draw a big lake. And I'm going to draw my stick figure playing golf over here. So here we go. I know this is fancy drawing here. So here I am. And right here is a big giant river. And here's the green way over here. Now, if this were red and I hit the ball and it rolled back into the water over here, or let's say right here. So it rolled back into the water. It hits onto the bank, rolls back in right here. So this is the last point of where it crossed the hazard. So I could go 2 club lengths this way, no closer to the hole and drop there. But if it's a yellow penalty area, I have to keep this point between me and the hole and go way back over here and drop. Okay, that's the difference. It's just in how you're allowed to drop and how you're allowed to proceed. So just try to remember that. So the ball that Daniel hit into the woods and couldn't find is now considered a lost ball. Does anybody know how many minutes he gets to search for that lost ball? It used to be 5 minutes. Now what is the new rule?
M raised his hand. Go ahead. You're still muted. Hang on. Let me see here. There we go. Okay, go ahead.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Great job. Great answer. It used to be you had 5 minutes to search for a lost ball. Now you get 3 minutes. So in order to speed up the pace of play when we're out there playing, so that's using good judgment. Using good judgment is saying, hey, I'm going to play as fast as I possibly can, keep up with the group in front of me. So if I hit a ball that looks like it may be out of bounds or it may be lost in some trees, but not in a penalty area, what I'm going to do is play a provisional ball. So so I've got 2 balls here. Let's say I played, when I get to the first hole, I always identify my golf ball. Today I would be playing a Titleist Pro V1 X number 4. And I may put, a couple circles or dots or something on that to identify that that is my golf ball. So I'm playing the Titleist Pro V1 X4 with 4 black circles. So I hit the ball and it's into the woods somewhere. Don't know if I'm going to find it. And I don't want to walk all the way down there, search 3 minutes, and have to walk all the way back and hit another ball. So what I'm going to do is say, I am going to play a provisional. And I'm going to say, I am now going to play a Titleist Pro V1 number 3 with a green or blue dot, however it shows up on your camera. So I'm going to hit this ball. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to search for the first ball. I'm hoping I can find the number 4 with the 4 black dots. But if I can't, after the 3 minutes is up, then I'm going to go over and I'm going to play the Titleist 3 with the blue dot. And now I don't have to walk all the way back to the tee box and hit another ball. So that's called, so when you do that, so a lost ball and an out of bounds are called a stroke and distance penalty. So if you hit those, typically you have to walk all the way back to where you hit the shot originally and hit another ball. So playing a provisional ball will save time. It definitely makes things a lot easier for you. So provisional balls, very important. Going back real quick, can somebody name, raise your hand, can somebody name one of the 4 guidelines for setting a reachable goal? What does it have to be?
Have it be specific.
It has to be specific.
It has to be positive.
Has to be positive. That's 2.
It has to be specific to you, or important to you, sorry.
Important to you, that's 3. And then the last one today was, give you a hint, weather is one of. How I act is an example of it.
Under your control.
Under your control. So if it's under my control, then I'm going to use good judgment, control myself, control my emotions, play the best I can, and always be a gentleman or lady on the golf course. But we'll go back over these again real quick. Has to be positive, important to you, specific, and under your control. I know those are in your yardage books, so make sure you go back and review that. That will be on the test. I promise you they will have different aspects of it being positive versus important to you versus specific versus under your control. So you need to be able to identify all 4 aspects of that. Next week, we will get into the different types of goals that we have out there. So, but we'll learn more about that next week. Very good stuff next week. So make sure you can tune in next week. Look at that. Pre-shot routine is very, very, very important. So that's a process goal that we'll talk about next week. But the process is so important. We get so enamored with the outcome in golf. And we all know that our outcome is never perfect all the time. And that, if we allow the outcome to affect our happiness, we're not going to be very happy out there playing golf because very rarely do we hit very perfect, specific golf shots. So just make sure that we're going to go through that next week. So